Bear says hello too.
Yep, Cupcake Bear says hello too, doesn't she? Yeah, say we missed you yesterday, didn't we, my special guest Lillian?
But I was still there because I was watching it.
Yeah, yesterday she was watching it. You didn't get to be in it because Mommy was at church, wasn't I? Now we're back at home for story time. And what story are we going to read about today, Lillian?
Goliath.
Goliath. And what is Goliath?
Big giant.
A big giant. Yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty good Goliath face. Maybe everybody who's watching at home, practice your Goliath face. Is that kind of fun? Yeah. Well, are you ready to read the story of who's the other person in the story? Do you know?
David.
Yep, David and
Goliath.
Can you make a David face? What do you think David's face looks like?
This face.
Sure, that works. All right. So we're gonna read. And it's called The Young Hero and the Horrible Giant. And this comes from 1 Samuel chapter 17. God's people had some scary enemies, but the Philistines were the scariest of them all. And now the Philistines had come to fight them. The Philistines had a secret weapon called Goliath. Goliath was a terrifying soldier, and worst of all, a giant! A giant so strong and so tall and so scary that no one had ever been able to fight him and live to tell the tale. So there they were, the Philistines standing on top of one hill, God's people standing on top of the other. Every day Goliath came out and shouted, "Send your best soldier to fight me. If he wins, we will be your slaves. But if I win, you will be our slaves." No one spoke. No one moved. "Chickens!" Goliath bellowed. "Your God can't save you. I'll rip your heads off and have you on toast!" His beady, greedy eyes glowered at them hungrily from under his horrible helmet, as if any minute he really might just gobble them all up. And he laughed his terrible laugh. Ha 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 ha! It boomed, echoing horribly around and around the dry valley. Well, Goliath might just as well have been a green, slimy monster with 3 heads because God's people froze with fear. Their eyes glazed over and they turned deathly pale. They knew if someone didn't do something quick, if someone didn't save them. But God would do something. He would send someone to save them. Now, you remember that David was the youngest son of Jesse. Well, his brothers were soldiers in the army. One day when David brought his brothers their lunches, he saw Goliath, and he saw how scared everyone was. "Don't be afraid," David said. "I'll fight him for you." "You're only a little shepherd boy," the king said, "and Goliath is a great soldier. How will you fight him?" "God will help me," David said. So the king gave David his royal armor to wear, but it was too heavy and too big, and David couldn't even walk. "I won't need this," David said. Instead, David picked out 5 smooth stones from the stream. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Took his slingshot and walked towards Goliath. Step, step, step. Goliath walked towards David. Thud, thud, thud. "You?" Goliath peered down at the small boy. "I'm little," David shouted up to him, "but God is great." Goliath laughed an even terribler laugh than usual. Ho, 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 it went. With just one swing of his giant sword, Goliath could finish the boy off. But David kept going. It isn't how strong you are or how many swords and spears you have that will save you. It is God who saves you. This is God's battle, and God always wins his battles. David put a stone in his sling, swung it around, and let it go. The little stone flew whiz like a bullet through the air and struck Goliath thud right between the eyes. Goliath stopped laughing. He stumbled and staggered and crash fell dead. When the Philistines saw Goliath was dead, they ran away. And when God's people saw them running away, they cheered. God had saved his people. David was a hero. Many years later, God would send his people another young hero to fight for them and to save them. But this hero would fight the greatest battle the world has ever known. And who is that hero, Lillian, that God would send?
Jesus.
Jesus, yes. What battle did Jesus fight? That's a tricky question, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Did he fight a giant like David? No? What battle did Jesus fight? He fought the battle against sin and against death. And he won that battle. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Isn't that kind of cool to think about?
Mm-hmm.
What did the story say about God winning battles? What did it say about God and battles? Do you remember? Did it say that God always wins his battles? Mm-hmm. Can we trust that God is always going to win? Even when it doesn't seem like it? How did the people feel before David came to fight the giant? What were they feeling? Afraid. Yeah, that's a pretty good way of putting it. Do a lot of people feel afraid in the world right now? Mm-hmm. Does it kind of feel like we're facing a giant? Yeah, it does kind of feel like that, doesn't it?
But we're going to win this battle.
Mm-hmm. And how are we going to win this battle?
God.
Through God, by trusting in God. That's right. And even though it feels tough, we can always trust in him, just like David did with his slingshot, didn't he? Yep. That's very good. Very good actions, too. I like that you're getting full body motion in here. All right, we got some people that joined us. Brianna says, JJ says, hi, Auntie, and hi to Lillian. So they liked your story time.
Maybe.
Thank you so much for watching.
They watched it.
Yeah. Did you know that they watched it? Your cousins?
No.
Yeah, they were having fun watching it. Well, thanks for joining us for story time, and we'll be back again tomorrow with another story at 1 o'clock. Are you going to help me do my story again tomorrow? Yeah, we have fun doing this together. So thanks for watching, and just remember, God is still in control, just like he was for the people of Israel and that giant Goliath, and he always, always wins his battles, and that's something we can trust in it, isn't it, Lillian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
Noise of a goodbye, like a baby face.